What's going on, people? It's your boy Clive Bolvin. The weigh-in, episode 11, right, boys?
Yep, killing it. Double figures properly.
Mate, we'll be talking about UFC 229. Conor McGregor, Khabib. Steve, talk to me.
I thought we were talking about a hard day.
Alhamdulillah! This is number one easy fight.
I was signed up to talk about Jack Carroll against the Howard Davis. It's the hatchet job.
Let me tell you something that you may not know. These two are the main boxing fans in our group. I initially am an MMA fan first, then a boxing fan. So I've been waiting for this type of episode.
I'm an Irish man before anything.
So when I came into Steven's house, I told him, listen, this is number one fight. And Khabib has called for this for a few years back. And I've told these boys from a few years back that Khabib is the number one guy.
You took down my kitchen picture of Jesus and got a picture of Khabib.
For years, I've been...
The disrespect.
For years, I've been saying that Khabib was the number one guy. Literally, for years, I brought these guys in on MMA a few years back. And I told them Khabib is one of the number one guys to look out for. And I'm just happy that he proved me right.
27-0, right?
I want to fight Tyson Fury next. Make it happen.
Listen, he'll still have a chance. He will still have a chance. This guy wrestles bears. He'll still have a chance.
The fight was always going to go one way. Either an early knockout from Conor, or it was going to be, submission.
Don't you have a degree in maths, Clive? Isn't that two ways?
Listen, I ain't slept since. I'm absolutely shattered.
Listen, man, it's been a long night. You think boxing... This is the first ever time that an MMA event has gone as long as a boxing event. The only difference is that this is real. This has been real beef that obviously we'll uncover later on in this episode, but this has been
cover
real.
It now.
Yeah, no, well, when I mean later on, I mean as in obviously you got to talk about the fight first and the build up.
Fuck the fight.
The fight was masterful. Let's not get lost.
Let's talk about the Royal Rumble after the fight.
Let's not get lost.
Which fight?
Let's not get lost in the source of the melee, and let's bring more attention to the actual good fight, because it was a good fight. It was a good back and forth. Well, not back and forth, but it was more contested than a lot of people would have presumed it was. Even for myself, I thought Khabib was gonna go in there and steamroll Conor, and Conor surprised me because I think he showed good takedown defense. He used underhooks well.
Yeah, his positions on the floor were good as well.
Yeah.
So from his back, he was playing positional defensive. Very well, and he was doing all the right things. Once get taken down by a master sort of wrestler like Khabib, he's done all the right things. But it's just the guy is just such an experienced wrestler, and he's so strong. Also, I think the problem was because Conor does boxing and UFC now. I'm not sure he knew what kind of fight this was going to be. So I think if he knew this was an MMA fight, I'm sure he would have won. But he thought it was a boxing match, and he wasn't ready for the wrestling.
Mate, that's terrible. That is terrible.
Let me tell you guys something. From UFC 205, I believe that we watched this all together, and that's when Khabib had the epic interview when he goes, "Listen, I am normally a humble guy, but your guy, he talks too much." He told you lot from then. This was years ago. And even on that night, I believe that was late 2016. And even on that night, and I told you guys, listen, this before the fight started, I said, this guy's the truth. And after the fight, I said, this will be the guy. Whoever he faces at the time will be the future lightweight champion. Steven, I let them know on that night years ago.
I have no evidence.
Fair enough. I'm not a massive UFC fan. More of a casual of anything. And Ray's pretty much been blowing his trumpet over the years.
No, he's an incredible fighter, and I think he was the favourite to win the fight, and it was the common pick. It was the common pick that he would just take Conor down and pin him there, and then Conor hasn't got the best stamina, and it was going to go that way. Yeah. I personally don't find him to be the most exciting fighter in the world. I wouldn't tune into Khabib versus anyone. It would have to be the right dance partner.
The disrespect.
What do you think, Clive? You're a
it's like, Vladimir Klitschko. Brilliant boxer.
Yeah.
But I can't be waking up early in the morning to catch
you have to be a real, you'd have to really know what you're looking at and have done wrestling or done MMA to some sort of level. You have. You know what you're looking at. I just see a guy squashed another guy in the cage.
I would understand that if it wasn't for the fact that Khabib finishes fights as well. It's different. He's not what we call.
He doesn't finish fights.
What we call in MMA as a lay and pray. He's not that. No, but think about it. Apart from our Ayaquinta fight, he finished.
Michael Johnson.
He
but like in the last minute of the fight.
He's still, but it's a fight. You can't just always go in there and steamroll.
Right, but I had to watch like three rounds
in there and steamroll.
14 minutes.
It is called mixed martial arts. Mixed martial arts, meaning you're gonna use a peripheral. Let me not go there. I don't know what I was just trying to pronounce. My head this was all over the gap.
These early mornings, excited about Khabib.
I could not go to sleep after that fight.
You use a mixture of martial. It's called mixed martial arts for a reason. You use different martial arts.
And I think it's well known that wrestling is one of the sort of more effective types. But the criticism of wrestling is that it's not the most pleasing to watch. GSP got the same criticism. Predominantly a wrestler, and Khabib is in for the same sort of criticism. It's highly effective, but like Clive said, it's the Vladimir Klitschko.
I'd say it's different because, at least in the later rounds anyway, is that his ground and pound was very effective. It's different because the first round, what people may not understand is that Conor wasn't allowing him to get a dominant position for him to be throwing punches. Because as I know, people that aren't into the sport might not get the technical aspects of it, but then before you can just start punching someone on the ground, you have to make sure that you can hold them in place.
Yeah.
And it sounds easier said than done. And I think that's what...
You can't take any... it's just a slow process.
Yeah, it's a slow process.
Sort of like building them into that position.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But what would you say Conor could have done differently? I feel like he was overmatched. He didn't have many outs to win this fight. We talk about outs to win the fight. But would you have... I felt like...
circles around
I felt like he should have... been more aggressive with the left hand straight away and gambled a bit more earlier because it's going to go the same way anyway. I feel like he could have just kind of been more aggressive early and tried to take him out early.
I thought keep him on the outside. Got the longer reach.
Yeah, but the ankle pick takedowns came from so far across the ring that he was able to cut that distance.
Because Khabib's type of wrestling is very different because some people, as soon as they shoot for a takedown, they want to take you down instantly, whereas Khabib is someone that will tire you. All he needs is to grab onto you, and he'll keep on working different types of takedowns from there. He's not looking to take you down straight away.
Yeah.
Sometimes
he mixes up his takedowns. Doesn't he? Like, there's a lot of single legs. He doesn't really shoot double legs.
He doesn't really shoot the traditional double leg.
There's like picking the single leg ankle. There's like that sort of suplex drop that he does where he kind of grabs you around the waist and just kind of picks you up. And it was hard to read. I felt like Conor allowed Khabib to get a foothold in the fight early, and he gained a lot of confidence. Whereas if he put it on him early, he might have scared him, he might have rocked him, he might have taken some of that sting out of him, which is how I would have went about the fight.
The funny thing is, for me, at least the first round, I remember Conor did put the pressure on him, but he just didn't pull the trigger because of the fear of the takedown.
That's what I mean, and I feel like Conor was caught in two minds. He wasn't his usual confidence. He didn't have faith in his left hand because he was worried about what was coming back, and that's never been Conor's. He's never worried about the other guy because he's got so much faith in himself. I feel like throughout the camp, wary of his takedowns, he went in the back of his mind. He half-stepped. He was caught between being aggressive and being defending the takedowns, and he was in no man's land. And it allowed Khabib just to sort of completely take over the fight.
Wrestling aside, Khabib even surprised me with striking.
He chinned him in the second round.
I think. Do you know what happened with that? Is that Conor took his striking. It was like
didn't respect it.
Yeah, he didn't respect it. He thought himself too highly, and I think. He thought, let me just wait for Khabib to take the takedown. Yeah. And then I think Khabib wanted to just show him, like, listen, I might not have the cleanest stand-up, but I've still got hands. And then he dropped him with an overhand right.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, you know what?
I remember we jumped. I was watching at my house with my boy, and we jumped out of our seat because we thought if Khabib gets the KO on Conor, the irony. I would have been doing this podcast. But I think it was just a situation of when he dropped him, it's like he swarmed on him, then he tried to go for the ground and pound, And then Khabib then reverted back to wrestling when he saw that, listen, let me not gas out my arms by trying to go for the ground and pound.
It reminded me a bit of when Nate Diaz caught Conor with that shot in round 2 in that first fight he had with Nate Diaz? That was the beginning of the end, and I thought that was going to be a similar thing, but he held the shot a bit better. I think Nate Diaz is probably a better puncher than could be more a clean puncher, and Conor was more tired at that stage of the fight. I thought Conor paced the fight well to his credit.
He was doing well.
Better than usual.
I think me and Steve were talking about this earlier on. In terms of Conor's body type, it's just not meant to last for.
This is what I mean, and he tried to I feel like for this fight, he tried to reinvent himself as something that he's not, trying to outlast Khabib. When I think you're a 2-round fighter, be an incredible 2-round fighter as you have been. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't try and outlast the guy who outlasts everyone by wrestling them.
Yeah.
Go out there, 2 rounds. Chin him and just.
But did it not seem like Khabib was getting tired?
He was. That's the funny thing.
They were both depleted. Yeah.
I think because his coach was calling for Conor to put on him, and then you could see the coach was just like, "Look, Conor, Khabib's getting tired now, but Conor's not the person who's known as the stamina guy to take advantage of that." So then that's where the issue comes in. Is that
that's why I know I think Ferguson with his engine because of he's so good from his back. Yeah, and his dashes are incredible, and his jiu-jitsu is so good off the back. So when he gets taken down with Conor McGregor, he doesn't have that aggressive style of jiu-jitsu to scare Khabib. So Khabib can do what he wanted. With Ferguson, you take him on the floor, you got him on his back. That's where he wants to be. He can be aggressive from that position. So Khabib has to be thinking down there. Yeah, and Ferguson, I think, has a better engine than Khabib. So if that fight goes to the 4th and 5th round. Ferguson would then come in, if he could survive that early onslaught. Ferguson would then start to come into it. I think that's a really, really interesting fight. I know you think the Kevin Lee fight is another one.
I still think that Khabib takes everyone apart from an I won't call him up and coming, a perennial contender called Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee, for a long time, has said he knows how to beat Khabib, and I think after watching that fight yesterday, I've got more faith in Kevin Lee. Even though I did have faith in him before, but I think now I look at it and I think Kevin Lee actually had the style to do something big against Khabib. But
what did you see last time? What can Kevin Lee do?
I think with Kevin Lee, he's got better takedown defense than Conor.
Yeah.
And then what Conor
he's
done
a
yesterday,
university level wrestler, isn't he?
Yeah. So then I think what Conor showed yesterday was good. Take nothing away from Conor, because everyone thought he was just going to go in there and get steamrolled. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people thought from first round, if Khabib grabs him, he's going to get steamrolled. Yeah. Conor showed very good takedown defense, very good technique. But then I thought with a more seasoned wrestler like Kevin Lee, if he can implement that more, then it'll be interesting to see him against Khabib. And I believe that he's got a better stand-up than Khabib. So
what about Ferguson?
Ferguson, for me, he comes across as a fighter who doesn't mind taking damage to give some. And I think that's very inefficient for someone that wants to be the number one guy. The sport has evolved from, don't get me wrong.
But he has got good jiu-jitsu though.
He's got good jiu-jitsu, but it's like he'll also put himself in dangerous positions to go tit for tat. And that type of mentality, even saying in the press conference, like sometimes he likes getting hurt or he likes getting into battles. And I just think
he's got good kickboxing.
Yeah.
And then if you do take him down, off his back, he's got some weapons down there as well. Yeah. And he's got a really good engine, which is probably his strongest thing.
But people forget, even in the Kevin Lee fight, he lost the first 2 rounds. And that's the Kevin Lee with staph infection.
Yeah.
So if you do that against Khabib will not...
Very true, but he didn't lose them that comprehensively. He lost them, they were quite close. It was a good fight. And then it became a war of attrition. And the staph infection obviously played a part. Yeah. What's Kevin Lee's engine like?
On a normal day. Kevin Lee has a very good engine. He proved that in his next fight after that against Barboza. And then he proved that he's got a very good engine. He can do that for 5 rounds and that he can put a lot of pressure. His overall game is good as well. And he's always improving. But not to digress from Conor and Khabib, I think, for me, myself, I picked Khabib to win the fight. But I was really impressed by Conor because he showed a lot of good defense that people weren't expecting of him. Although there was a lot of foul play, whether it was from grabbing the fence, pulling his shorts, pulling his gloves. Getting away with quite a bit. He needed him on the floor.
It could be one of those, like Vladimir Klitschko against Joshua. He lost the fight, but finally he might actually get some respect from the UFC fans to say, because everyone's just he's just a left hand, a guy with a good left hand, and that's it. but he showed more to his game last night as a mixed martial artist. That's good. Now moving on to the main event.
Listen, no. Wait. Let's not skip the 4th round because that was one thing I'll give to Conor. The 3rd round, he did put the pressure back onto Khabib, and then I think 4th round was that became a war of attrition.
It's just war of attrition, wasn't it?
And then Khabib just showed that's just come from the experience of
he knew he went into autopilot there, which Conor McGregor doesn't have that autopilot on the ground yet.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? If that stayed as a standing up fight, if you said right, you're not allowed to do takedowns, and you're this level of tiredness, Conor McGregor would have went into autopilot with his striking, and he would have got the win. Yeah. Okay, it's just that when fights get tired, when UFC fights get tired, they end up on the floor. Typically.
I think also in combination with that, I think Khabib just didn't want to TKO him. I think Khabib wanted a submission because there was points in the fight where Khabib had like very good ground and pound on Conor, and
the ground and pound was the first round.
He was like he didn't really go all out for the finish like he could have, but that's also it's 5-round fight. You got to keep the engine. With him? Not toying with him, but I think for me it appeared like he wanted the submission because he wanted that submission from Conor, because with getting knocked out, it's like your body mechanics telling you like shut down for your own safety. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas submission is like you're conscious and you're consciously saying,
I
give up.
I've been sort of like
dominant.
Yeah, I've been dominated.
I made you submit.
I guess I
think that's what Khabib wanted. He wanted that tap because
I did see like everyone's building Khabib up to be like indestructible, and like his last few fights, I've seen chinks in him that. I don't know if there's any fighters in the contendership now that could do him, but he's by far he's not a GSP type where you're like this guy like has so few flaws. It's like how would you beat him?
So Michael Johnson was doing well before you got submitted. Like kicking the shit out of it.
No. Let's go back to doing well. He clipped him, but let's not forget that he clipped him in the 1st round. And then he got dominated for the next 2.5.
The guy in his last fight, I don't know how to say his name. That's Pilo Penta.
Ayaquinta.
Ayaquinta. He was doing well.
He was doing all right, but also in that fight, I feel like Khabib didn't take it as serious because I think for me,
for 2 fights,
Khabib was coasting for me. Khabib was coasting for me in that Ayaquinta fight.
No, his takedown started to get stuffed in
his takedown started to get stuffed, but then,
so you can't call that like you try and do something and it doesn't work. That's not like
no, but the reason I say coasting because Khabib is not primarily a stand-up guy, and in that fight it just seemed like Khabib wasn't scared of anything else. So yes, the takedown wasn't working, but then he started jabbing him like basically for the last 2 rounds was just jabbing him, like trying to show some stand-up was there, even though it wasn't the most impressive. But like I said, Kevin Lee, I believe, might be the guy to do it. But then,
interesting.
After this melee, I don't even know if 1, Khabib's gonna have the belt, and 2, who's gonna fight, because whilst in the midst of celebration, a wild Khabib. He stood on top of Conor, started shouting at him.
We're coming into the main event now.
And then he took his focus to Dylan Dennis. He threw his gum shield at his direction.
I don't know when they brought in the Swanton Bowen.
Listen,
Jeff Hardy knows.
Yeah. Is it a bird? Is it a plane?
It's
the eagle.
Come off the top ropes. Yeah, that's top quality, man.
He channeled his inner Jeff Hardy circa 99 and he jumped there and he said, listen, alhamdulillah, I told you guys that this is not trash talk.
He just said that as he jumped.
He said, listen, Khabib has been telling everyone for so long. I think that's what is the irony more than it actually being funny is that people liked how Khabib talks, but then for Khabib, it's like he always said it. He's not trash talking.
This was real to him.
Yeah, for him, it's like it's trash. It's not trash talking. And at first, when people were saying,
I think his stocks have gone down after that though. Like, I think he's probably like,
I think his stock's gone up.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. When people, do you know what it is? I think a lot of people have been seeing it in a different light because when you evaluate the whole situation, the UFC looks bad because they didn't penalise Conor for all the bad stuff that he done.
They had audacity to put out bus footage.
Yeah.
The fucking promo.
Exactly. So now it's just like, you've laid your bed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now you got to lie in it.
So you feel like that UFC fans are sort of like that was a good thing to happen.
Oh no, it's not a good thing to happen. But I think people have empathized. What I've seen anyway from social media is that people have empathized more with Khabib because at first, initially, don't get me wrong, I do not condone what happened. It's very bad, and I'm very upset that it happened.
No, you
At the same time, I am. It's a black eye on the sport, and I don't want new viewers to think that that's the normal thing of the sport. It isn't. It's very bad behaviour, but at the same time, it's like Conor went from throwing the trolley at his bus. He caused personal harm to him. He caused personal harm to the people on the bus. Yeah. He never got punished. He spoke about his dad not getting a visa. Went at this guy's religion. Went out of this guy's character, and then also like the whole putting alcohol in his face, knowing that obviously is against religion, and the organisation just didn't step in. At some point, I understand you want to make sales, but at some point you have to step in because for me, it's like, where is the line?
Exactly.
There needs to be a line.
Talk.
Yeah.
I'm not really talking about what's morally right or wrong here, but like. Conor is supremely popular. Yeah, like he was the face of the UFC. Yeah, and most fans there last night were Conor fans.
Of course.
Yeah, and most people who probably bought the pay-per-view were Conor fans. Yeah, they were there to see Conor.
Don't underestimate the Russian fans.
No, but no doubt about it. In America, in America, you know, they're there to see the crazy Irish guy fight. They see their boy get choked out, and tapped out. They're bummed out, and then they just see this guy, the guy who beat him, just kind of swinging on people, and then his team come running in and punching the geezer in the face. And it's like they're going to overlook what Conor did, and they're going to be like, that's bullshit. And that's just how they're going to feel.
I don't think. Well, like I said, just from the social media feeds that I've seen a lot of people look.
Yeah, but you follow a lot of Khabib fans.
No. I mean, this is the crazy PR machine of Mr. Roach here. This is what happened. No, because I've been on like main sites of like MMAfighting.com or
what's the Mac Live say?
even with BT Sport, I've seen professional sportsmen. I'm not going to name their name because I don't know. Maybe their clubs are going to tell them to take their words down from the comments. But I've seen professional sports stars even say like, "Listen, I'm not trying to be funny. Conor had all these transgressions before. It doesn't make what Khabib done right, but I understand you done gangster stuff, and now that gangster stuff comes back to you, you can't be upset." And I use this analogy when explaining it to my friend. I can't come out and act like, oh, I'm some gangster rapper, and then throughout my lyrics I've been talking the most hardest stuff, and then I'll call out somebody who is actually about that life. And then
shit gets real.
Yeah, and then imagine one time I meet them and then it gets real, and then I can't then be like, listen, man, it was just promo.
But
it's a different culture. You gotta remember,
it's the point though. It's about where it leaves. Like, I'm not really talking about that. I mean, like, it's about where it leaves the UFC and how people will perceive, because the UFC is trying to become a mainstream organization. Yeah, and if the mainstream. It doesn't really matter what we think is morally right or wrong.
I'm sure it's attractive.
No. In fact, I'm gonna have a Steven moment because the same way last week you was having a moment with Andy Joshua.
Go on.
I'm gonna turn into you this week because I'm not trying to be funny. You can't play the moral high ground now because when you show.
No one's saying moral high ground.
No. Hear what I'm saying. With the UFC, it's like you put out the image of Conor throwing a trolley at a bus. Do not then say, "Oh, what looks bad for you now?" or I can't empathise with the UFC right now.
But what I'm saying, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that that they're going to lose fans, like regardless of whether it's right or wrong. But I'm saying, does this mean that the UFC will lose fans? They've got Conor's marketability down the toilet. Khabib is the champion, suspended from the sport, and not very popular as a result of what went on last night. Yeah. You've now got a world title fight. If Conor doesn't want to come back and do this thing, you've got a world title fight between Ferguson and Kevin Lee for the lightweight title. Who's watching that?
Dustin Poirier. I think no.
The Dustin Poirier and Nate Diaz fight is a good fight.
Yeah.
But is that pay-per-view?
But you also got to keep in mind.
Whereas if Khabib didn't do what he did last night, he's the champion and his popularity would have went up. But as a result, in the mainstream,
his popularity is still up.
His popularity is going to go down. What? As a result?
No, it won't.
To the mainstream.
A lot of people are talking about it.
Well, you think that people will be the mainstream media, yeah, all the fans of Conor, yeah, will be happy to see his team punching Conor in the face after he's been submitted, and
all the fans of Conor just fans.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you're a fan of Conor, you're not going to be happy about that.
Exactly. No. A fan of Conor
people aren't sitting there like, I'm the most noble character. People are hypocritical. People are hypocritical.
The fans of Conor aren't going to tune in to other fights anyway. Do you get what I'm saying? It's not like... It's different. This is the way I see it. It was an opportunity for UFC to expand its fan base, but will they lose any? No. Because at the end of the day, the additional fans that just come to see Conor are just coming to see Conor. The same way that we've also mentioned...
I just came to see Conor.
No.
You just came to see Conor.
No. Hear what I'm saying.
Did you just come to see Conor?
Wait. Hear what I'm saying. Wait. Hear what I'm saying. Because the same way I was saying...
I came to watch Volkov.
No. The same way I've said previously, people do not care about boxing. They care about Anthony Joshua. But don't act like MMA is some small sport. Fair enough, it might not get the numbers that Conor gets, but it's not a small sport where the numbers are going to dwindle to 100k from 3 million. It's not going to dwindle that much.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that people tune in to watch Conor. Yeah. That's the same way with boxing.
Yeah.
And you get attracted because of the Mike Tysons of the world, and then you stay around for the other fighters.
Did you not see the rest of this fight card?
But if you see your guy, yeah, people are hypocritical. It's not right, but people are hypocritical. If you see your boy, yeah, getting they don't give a fuck what Conor did. They like the fact that Conor hit the guy with the bus. They like that. I'm not gonna lie to you. They like that Conor attacked the guy with the bus. They thought that was funny, and they think that Conor getting punched after he got choked out isn't funny. They didn't like that. And they're going to go, fuck this.
No. Well, fuck them. No. Honestly, because I'm not trying to be funny. Why is it all fun?
Business.
Well, no, it's not. Because why is it all fun and games when this guy, and you was the main culprit at the time, because when Conor threw that trolley, I remember you being in the group chat saying,
I don't give a fuck.
Exactly my point. So then all these people that want to chat shit, fuck them. I don't give a fuck. Listen, in the infamous words of Tupac, first off, fuck. Wait. Let me get this. No, take two.
I ain't gonna edit that.
No. Do you know why? Do you know why I hesitated? Because I don't wanna go at any artist, because in the diss track, Tupac went a lot of people. Fuck your bitch and the click you claim. That's all I'm saying. The words of Tupac. Fuck your bitch and the click you claim.
Did you guys happen to come across Mike Tyson's tweet?
Which I don't think he wrote.
He was talking about the riot, and someone must have been like, you do realise, have you not forgotten you bit off someone's fucking head? What the fuck? Get out of here, man. What are you talking about?
Did you friend eat someone's kids?
Listen, man. Listen, they love it. Because at the end of the day, the benefit with the UFC that has in comparison to boxing is that with boxing, people are just tuning in for the AJ fight. They do not care about the undercard. What with UFC is like, their undercard is so entertaining. Yes, you might not remember all the names, but they are going to be standout people. You might be like... Because I've got people that's texted me and said, you know what, I'm not going to lie, I tuned in for the Conor fight, but... I know
that Alex Ferguson fight was hard.
No, but I've had people actually text me that, oh, I know you've been trying to get me into MMA for years. I finally watched the Conor fight. That was good, but my goodness, this whole card was good. Like, I didn't realise MMA was this entertaining. They I get your whole point of there's going to be Conor fans, but fuck those Conor fans. They're fair weather anyway. We don't need them. Well, we do need them because I want fighters to get paid more, but I don't think it's going to be as detrimental as you think.
That's my point. Do you think so? Firstly, do you think the UFC needs stars?
Yes, of course.
Right. So who is that star now? So you killed one last night. Unmercifully killed him.
But I think they killed a star. But I think the benefit from this also shows what some people see as lacking in boxing, in that if you see that, wow, they're really not protect. Like no one's protected.
Yeah, that's good. I'm all for it.
If people see the best face and the best, then it like eliminates your gripe with boxing.
No, I'm all for it. I just like we said last week, we did say that needs to be a balance. They didn't, because the sold out shows at the big venues and the glitzy TV stuff looks great, and you want that for the sport. Yeah. But you've got to have some integrity as well, and it's a tough balancing act between like maintaining integrity and like the best fighters fighting the number one contender constantly. Like you're gonna slip up unless you're like the goods, like. Do you know what I mean? It's very rarely do you get a guy who's actually the goods and can talk well and do it all.
Yeah.
You know, it's like...
We've seen this beforehand, Ronda Rousey.
Yeah. That's why I feel...
new.
That's why I feel like the UFC can recover, because remember when Rousey was number... Because people forget, before McGregor was getting the big boy numbers, Rousey was getting the big boy numbers.
They all talks about Rousey and Mayweather.
Exactly. Exactly. And then people
talking about that shit.
People forget, this is when the UFC got to a low point, that's when they signed CM Punk, because they thought, at that point, crap, I don't know what we're going to do for star power.
That's a former ECW champion you're talking about.
Listen. Did he beat Undertaker's streak? No, he didn't. At WrestleMania, CM Punk lost, and then you thought this guy was going to come into MMA? Get the F out of here. Get the F. Tell him to do with the Undertaker first. Tell him to do with the Undertaker.
Unfinished business of WWE. So who are the next, who's the next star coming through? Who do you think would be, who takes over the mantle now?
I think it's going to be a slow process, but it's something that doesn't need to be rushed, because at the end of the day...
So you got no one.
No. Wait.
You got Daniel Cormier.
You got your Daniel Cormier, he's a big enough star. He's growing as well.
Is he fighting Brock Lesnar?
Obviously, yeah, he is, and that's going to
be fight happening.
Yeah, and that's going to be big numbers.
That is beast.
And DC by himself is also becoming a big name. He's becoming
which
more.
Which is good to see. He was he's such a good fighter.
Yeah,
he was there yesterday. So
yeah, he was, because he's a teammate of Khabib.
Yeah.
And then obviously you got the returning controversial John Jones, who's always going to do decent numbers.
Yeah.
If GSP ever decides to return, he'll do numbers, and he's got a big Canadian fan base that he brings with him.
I'd love to see GSP against Woodley. That'd be quite
I can't see that happening.
I don't think it will happen, but
because the stage if he's in his career, I think that GSP wanted to fight McGregor, but at this point,
nah, it's just
McGregor.
No one's buying that McGregor could win that fight.
Here's the irony of it all. Now, I think the winner out of yesterday's melee was McGregor, because he might, if Khabib gets stripped by the Athletic Commission, now they might say, well, we need a new champion, Ferguson against McGregor, and then
he'll ride that sympathy of I
won't even think it's sympathy.
No, so that as in to avoid so people not talking about him getting choked out. Yeah. He'll put it onto they cold cocked me afterwards. He's snaky enough to just shamelessly ride that.
I think it will come off as, this is my big redemption fight, and Ferguson is a fight where I think is very winnable, and two, Ferguson has shown that he'll take damage. It's crazy.
That would be crazy pressure on him.
It'll be crazy pressure, but I think.
Well, and again, that's people would buy that, because you'd be like, right, this is
they love a comeback story.
This is it for Conor. They could sell that well.
Yeah. The last hurrah.
Last question: do you think he could make a comeback in boxing?
Nah.
There's a few exhibition fights out there.
Who, McGregor?
Yeah.
At this point, anyone that he fights has to be top competition, because of where he's put himself. He can't go in there and fight a bum. He's got to go in there.
I ain't gonna lie, I still like to see that Malignaggi fight.
Yeah, former world champ.
Yeah, they can sell that to me.
At this point, he kind of.
I was just about to mention his name.
He can't afford another loss. He can't. Right now, he has
Malignaggi's getting a bit.
But still, regardless, he will outlast him. Malignaggi will outlast him.
You won't hurt him with those pillow hands.
But it's not about. But it's racking points.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's McGregor needs to win first by devastating fashion to get the numbers on his side.
I think Conor's had his moment, and he capitalised and maximised the profits out of his moment.
Biggest way.
But I think the moment is now done, and he's going to go and do. I think we'll have one more, and win, lose or draw. I think he's going to go off and do other stuff now. But it's been a fun ride.
Oh yeah,
Conor's career's been the Aldo fight, Nate Diaz 1 and 2. It's been a fun road.
It might even do Nate Diaz. Well, depending if Nate loses next fight, there might be McGregor Diaz 3, and then that might be McGregor's last hurrah. But listen, always remember that Habib told you in 2016. In 2016, he said he would like to be humble, but your guy, he's not humble, and it's the number one fight in the lightweight division. He called it all the way then, and he's come back and kept that promise and won. In the words of a great man named Khabib Nurmagomedov, Alhamdulillah.
So would you describe yourself as a Khabib fan? Or?
Listen. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of both, but no, I am. Listen, I respect. As a guy that's been watching MMA for over a decade, I'm happy with what Conor's brought to the sport. At the same time, I do feel now though that the UFC has a responsibility of curving the shenanigans a bit, because it has got out of hand, and this is what it boiled over into. So hopefully they learn from this, and yeah.
I just can't believe you bought one of those Khabib hats, Ray. It looks ridiculous.
Listen, man. Die Gavrish Porowski.
You learned a new language.
Gavrish Porowski.
Fucking hell, this is a serious fanboy.
We normally end with predictions. What should we go for on this one? Give us a scenario.
I was gonna say.
This is Ray's forte. Leave it to him.
The most interesting thing now is gonna be what happens to Khabib next. So I think that's where we have to.
What's the punishment? I reckon he's going to be asked to go and pick up litter in Conor McGregor's backyard. I reckon that's community service. What do you guys think?
Mate, I don't know.
I think the Athletic Commission will punish him in some way, but then right now, honestly, the UFC are in no position to punish him for the simple fact that they did nothing to Conor either. So they said they let the law deal with Conor. So guess what? Let the Athletic Commission deal with Conor, and the UFC.
When you make the UFC $100 million, you can throw tries.
No, but you gotta forget. Khabib was a big enough figure for Conor to do that with, because even with the Eddie Alvarez fight, Conor was like, Khabib held his part of the promotion, ironically, by not promoting it in the way he would have liked. But Khabib was still a big enough name for Conor's fight to be this big.
I think, I don't know, I could see him getting stripped.
What about banned? Do you reckon he'll get banned?
Yeah,
banned and stripped, and then. But I think combat bans in combat sports are just they're so
they're
redundant.
Subjective to how big the person is.
But also, you like a fighter might not fight for a year anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Conor didn't fight for a year. He hasn't done 2 years in UFC, and 1 year since his last since that boxing match. So like a year in combat sports, you would have that off anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to be training.
You're going to be training anyway, so it doesn't actually matter. And then you come back a year later, and it's like you would have been off that. You might have had one fight in that time anyway, so it's not actually that big of a deal. So.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, but it's all to come.
A special MMA edition.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it's a bit
different. Tune in, subscribe, all of that.
This is #1 bullshit.
He's done that.